It's race week, and even though Vlad's deep into his taper, we're down here at the track today for a speed workout. And while the purpose of today's session is for Vlad to stay sharp and keep his legs turning over ahead of his trail marathon on Sunday, I actually think today's workout is one of those ones that every runner should have in their arsenal. Especially if you're an amateur like me and you don't have the time or even the physical ability to put down the mileage that Vlad does. This one gives you speed gains, but without the long recovery period or injury risk. If you stick around, I'll share with you the science to prove it, but for now, let's get inside, we'll chat to Vlad and find out what he's doing today. All right, mate, so we're down at the track. What do you got on today?
So doing a short taper session today, running 20 seconds hard, followed by 40 seconds at about tempo pace, and repeating that for 8 efforts, having a break of 3 minutes and repeating it all again. So the actual session is only about 16 minutes, and only about 5 minutes of that is actually running fast. It's one of my favourites in terms of being able to sharpen up before a race, but not be too fatigued leading into race day.
What does your mileage look like for this week?
This week I'm running about 50 kilometres, so most days I'm running 10 kilometres easy, but I'm throwing in this hard workout on the Tuesday. I'm coming off a pretty high mileage of around 170 kilometres on average with some quality. So whilst running 50 kilometres might sound like a lot in itself, when you've been doing that kind of high mileage, it's relatively low. So what we need to do is trick the brain into making sure that we don't switch off completely, but we need to remain sharp. And this is a really good way of doing that, but also keeping that really functional running economy and strength.
A lot of the time my mileage does max out at about 50 kilometres. And so when you're talking about a workout that stresses the body in the right ways just enough, but it doesn't add a huge amount of fatigue and a huge recovery window, that can be really valuable for amateurs who might not have the time, right, to put into doing 170 kilometres a week.
Yeah, absolutely. So the benefit of the session for those type of runners is going to be that you're getting all of those adaptations which are going to allow you to have better running form and run faster.
There's actually some really juicy science that I'm going to get into. I'll let you go get kitted up and get the session done. While you're doing that, I'm going to talk through exactly why this isn't just a great workout for elites to have in their taper weeks, but for amateur runners like me, it's a great one to fit into their program year round. So to understand why bursts of high intensity running can be so beneficial, we're going to look at a review published this year in the Scandinavian Journal of Medicine and Science in Sports. This review pulled together findings from over 40 different studies on speed endurance training. That is, workouts built around short bursts of high intensity, usually around 20 to 30 seconds near all-out effort with a quick recovery. And it didn't just focus on running, it included cycling, rowing, and team sports like football or rugby. Across all those different sports and athlete groups, the results were pretty simple. Athletes got faster. Performance gains were found to be around 5% for middle distance events such as the mile or 3K runs, and up to 4% for events like 5K and 10K time trials. And what's really interesting is that these improvements came often when overall training volume was reduced and VO2 max stayed the same. The main driver was found to be better running economy. Athletes became more efficient, moving faster at the same energy cost. Essentially, these short bursts trigger adaptations you'd normally expect from strength work, things like sharper neuromuscular coordination, more forceful strides, and greater efficiency. And here's the best part. The review also showed that doing more of these sessions isn't necessarily better. Just 1 or 2 speed endurance workouts a week was enough to get the full benefits. Beyond that, the improvements leveled off. And that's massive for amateur runners, especially if you're time poor and you can't put down the monster mileage that someone like Vlad does. If most of your weeks look more like one of his tapers, you can still make real speed gains by adding short bursts of speed like this. Right, mate, you finished the session. How do you feel?
I feel good. Yeah, it went really well. Pretty much exactly how I would have hoped that it would have gone. When you're tapering, you can feel a little bit sluggish. It's the first time I've tapered really in a few months, and just hitting this type of short, hard workout today was exactly what I needed.
That's really the beauty of this workout, right? Because it doesn't take too much out of you, so you can fit it into your schedule, weekly. But you get a lot of benefit from it.
Yeah, so as you said, it's really time efficient, but it's, you're still getting all of those adaptations, which is really important to help you become a faster runner without taking too much out of you physically.
Okay, so we've seen the workout as you did it today. What other kinds of speed workouts like this do you like to give to runners that you're coaching?
So similar workouts to this would be something called a fartlek, which is after Steve Monaghetti, so famous Australian marathon runner. It's a speed play where you're not working for too long. It's 20 minutes in total at varying paces. So the key to these workouts is that they're relatively short in terms of the total duration, no more than about 20 minutes, and about a third of that is working hard. Another type of session that I like to give to my runners is obviously hill sprints. We prescribe them all the time.
And then going back to the review that we talked about earlier, they mentioned that there was a 10, 20, 30 workout that actually was shown as an intervention for casual runners who are only doing 3 sessions a week to take 40 seconds or something off their 5K time.
Yeah, it's the science stacks up, doesn't it? And that type of workout is jogging for 30 seconds, running moderately for 20 seconds, and then running fast for 10 seconds, doing that for 5 minutes, and then repeating that for 3 or 4 sets. So the common thing here is that these are all only going for 20 minutes in total, with about a third of the time being fast. It just shows how much you can get out of such a short amount of time.
Yeah, wow. So it doesn't take a lot of that top end power, but you get so much benefit from it.
Yep.
And I think like something that really stands out to me is how, for athletes that don't have enough time, but also for aging athletes, athletes whose VO2 max is naturally declining with age, this is a way that you can train running economy always and see benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got a place for the elites right through to the amateurs. As you said, Chris, it helps you develop that running economy. And yeah, for people that have already got that aerobic base, this is just going to be something that, allows you to keep at that high level all the time.
You don't even necessarily have to overthink it, right? So if you're not someone who wants to program a really complex, run into your Garmin, you can just go out for a normal run and say, okay, for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you can play around with all of these things, get variations that are going to work for you. But essentially, you just want to make sure that if you are doing this type of workout, that you don't make the actual session too long and that you're only really at that peak performance for a short period of time, about a third of the total workout.
All right, well, as always, mate, thank you. Really appreciate the advice. And, thanks to everyone out there as well. Obviously, the channel has grown a lot in the last couple of months, and, we really appreciate the support. As always, if you've got any questions, drop them down below. Vlad or I will try to get to them. But other than that, until next time, enjoy your running.